Hello, this is John Fossbender. I'm going to start showing you how to use the DNA simulator in Charting Companion 7 from Progeny Genealogy. Now, this video is going to assume you already know how to create the DNA matrix chart. If you don't, kindly watch this video downloading match data and adding it to your tree. I'm not going to duplicate effort right now because it all is creating the DNA matrix chart is a jumping off point for doing the DNA simulator. So the link to this video is in the link below. So if you haven't seen it, please do. Otherwise, because this video is going to assume you already know how to do this, along with and to put people in your tree and how to match the people in your tree to the people in your match data so that Charting Companion can create the tree. Now in this simulation, this is my Aunt Jan down here. We have a match of 4 people who I found out were it's a group of 4 women, and upon contacting them, I found out they're mother-daughter pairs, and the mothers are half-sisters. So what I did is I went up to here and I added them as I started basically building their tree within my current tree as an unrelated person. Here's Peter Malianch, that's their common father. Here's the 2 mothers, Mona and Sharon, and then their respective daughters, Kathy and Cheryl. These blue bars mean that's they've got the DNA tags for Charting Companion to match to their match data. So they're half sisters through their father. So when I do this, I'm going to try to match. I'm not going to try to match Mona or Sharon or their daughters, Kathy or Cheryl. I'm going to try to match their common ancestor, which is this Peter. And then I have to try to find now a common ancestor in my tree. Well, I know this is on her. It's her father's side. So let's just start doing it. This is as far back as I've been able to get so far on her father's tree. Let's try her grandfather's. Now, I'll tell you right now, this is not far back enough, but I'll just show you what the DNA simulator does. One other thing to note is how far you have to go from the common ancestor to the people with the match data. So in this case, it's 2 generations from grandfather to here. For Peter, okay, it's 2 generations from Peter down to there. That's just something to keep in mind. So let's start up Charting Companion here. I'm going to do the DNA matrix, and now I am going to just do the DNA matrix chart first from the common ancestor, because from the first video, it's important to make sure you don't have any red. I've got the display percentage down here. So this will show if there's any red flags, so anyone may not be where they might be or where they should be. And yep, there's no red flags, so that's good. Because if there were any red flags, every scenario would fail. So that's the important thing to check. So now in the simulator, I always like to go at least one more. Insert people is a good thing to do, as this way it can insert potential siblings that you don't know about, or other spouses. And then now I'm going to tell it to try to to try to place this Peter Malianch. And so now I'll just perform the simulation. So it's going to do its processing and just see how many times. Now it's running the simulations. This may take a little while. This isn't too involved of a chart. One nice thing I like about this over the what are the odds tool is, one, it just pulls from your tree directly, so you don't have to upload JetComs. And plus with your match day, you don't have to enter in the CM values. And one, you don't have to come up with your own hypotheses. Now let me just scroll all the way down to the bottom. Okay, this came up with 65 scenarios. Now let me just start scrolling up here now. See, one of the things here is, see, okay, here it started assuming, okay, it started inserting people that, okay, like these are descendants of hers. Well, if you see, my Aunt Jan was born 1939. Well, you can see, okay, her son born in 57. Well, her son, grandson, his great-granddaughter, he didn't have a great-granddaughter born in 1924. And see, this is why, see, we didn't have a date for Peter Malianch. So this is why, if you don't have dates, even guessing at a date is a good idea. So I'm not even gonna, yeah, I could just disregard all of these. I mean, there are some here where it's like, okay, it kind of assumed these, but really without a valid dates, you know, this is kind of bogus information. So I'm gonna just ignore that. And let's go back, and in here, okay, so for Peter, okay, so Mona was their first child, born 1924. So maybe let's just assume, okay, well, Pearl was 18, maybe he was 18 or a little early. Let's just assume maybe 1900, maybe they were both 18, so 1906. Or you could even just say, well, maybe 1900, you know, maybe is a little bit older, or 1904. It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you got an approximate, you know, within the decade, that's fine. And then one other thing is, like, with the one thing I never did tell you is, in this match, the highest match was a Sharon. She was shown as 216 centimorgans. Well, she could be as low as a third cousin, which would mean sharing a third, second great grandfather. So let's just add, and based on the ages, uh, you know, let's and it's probably more like a once removed, so it might be a second cousin once removed, or, but anyway, back on here, even going to this, it's probably not even so much could be a sibling of him, or even that. Let's assume it's one of the fathers, and now it could also be from one. It could also be uh, on the mother side too. But so I'm gonna just say Z or M, parent Z or M. And then I'm going to go up here and just say grandparent Z or M. Okay, so now Fred was born 1884. Let's just say roughly, maybe say 1860, and let's just say, 1840. Could be 1830, but let's just have an approximate birth date. But so now we're gonna go up to here and now try to place. And this will just give more possibilities. And now with the simulator, now I'm also gonna, since I upped the generations a couple, you have to make sure you go down, you cover enough generations to get down to the people that have taken the DNA tests. So you gotta make sure you cover the maximum number of generations. And so now make sure we do perform simulation. If we just hit preview right here, it's gonna just do the DNA matrix with that checked. Here, just do the perform simulation. Like I said, so it's gonna re-go through the simulations. And now, even though my grandma or my aunt is the only test taker on this, in the future, if I can get some of those other test takers, like her half brother, or it's that one first cousin once removed, this Bill or Terry, because these are all shared matches to these, that can also help narrow down. See, now here I'm down to 5 scenarios. And that's just by guessing at these years, which provided. So Fred, so here means okay, a sibling to Fred. And this could really be a sibling to Pauline too, because at this point in time, I'm not exactly sure which branch it is. It's just because DNA wise, it's a combination of their two. So it could be a sibling of either one of these, male or female. So that Peter is a descendant of. So that's how they could be related. And likewise here with an inserted spouse, it could be a half sibling to one of these two. Peter could be a half sibling to one of these two. And then here, Peter could be a half nephew to one of these two. And now here, Peter could basically be here a first cousin to one of these two. And then it's basically okay, it could be a half first cousin. So basically it lets you know, it does narrow down where, it doesn't give you, here's the magic bullet, here's exactly where they do fit you in, but it does let you know, okay, here's where you can narrow down your possibilities. And if you'd want to start doing maybe possibly some targeted testing, it could maybe give you some hints as to, I mean, you could analyze this and maybe say, okay, well, maybe we can do this. Maybe start testing more siblings of Fred could help. Or, you know, if we do ever can isolate matches specifically on Fred's side or Pauline's side that also match Mona and Sharon, you know, that can also then help narrow down possibilities. And like I said, this example does not use it. But now if I do ever get, if I can ever get the matching data, say from Bill to these four, because these are shared matches, or this Terry to these four, or this Tesla to these four, that will add in another piece to the puzzle. And that's something that the What Are the Odds tool cannot use, is they can only reference one person and how they match all these other people. It can't take into account how multiple people match multiple people. And that's something that Charting Companion does handle, and how it all matches. Now, where this file stores, you can store, you tell it which directory you want to store it at. Here I just have it store in my documents directory. And now whenever you do run a new scenario, it will erase any other simulation. So if you do want to save these, copy them out of there and put them somewhere else. And likewise, you know, this is just the header file for this text file, which just says, okay, for these simulations. But then if you're working with a cousin or the unknown match, you can start shooting these individual files. We'll say, well, here's a possibility, here's a possibility, here's a possibility. You can send these individual pictures to someone. So, and then you can all then work on it and decide, well, you know, maybe I'll start looking on this side, you can start looking on this side, and work together to see where your trees match up. So, like I said, if you got any questions, probably the best thing will be come to the Charting Companion users group. The link will be listed below. You can post questions on the comments. I do check them periodically. So, but I hope this helps you show how to use the DNA simulation. Like I said, the real kicker is just get your heads wrapped around creating the DNA matrix and creating the DNA, this match files first. Once you get that down pat, you know, this DNA simulation is just one little step above. So thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed and learned. So any other future recordings you'd like, just let me know. Thank you.